What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today we have a special video that I've kind of been teasing for the last week, saying that I was going to be posting it, sharing little bits of information about what we'd be talking about today. So this one is something that I've been really looking forward to posting and talking about because it's not talked about very much. It's actually something that I feel like a lot of people kind of raise their eyebrows to and question, and that is prepping. So at the beginning of this video, we are going to talk about Tesla, Powerwalls, and solar energy. So we're going to touch on a couple different things in regards to prepping or emergency preparedness. Now, I personally think that there's bad notation around the word prepping, and I know I keep doing this, but I feel like people have kind of had that ruined for them by the doomsday prepper shows, all of the craziness, so now it's kind of associated as a bad thing. But we're going to talk about emergency preparedness is what we'll call it. So both Hunter and I, as we've grown as a couple and gotten married over the last couple years, we've both really been interested in sustaining ourselves and taking care of our family. Now Hunter is a very prominent, like, man's man. He wants to take care of his family and have everything possible to keep us safe in most situations. Now, I'm not going to say all, because there is a lot of different things that could happen and you can never ever be prepared for everything. So no, we're not crazy doomsday preppers by any means, but if anything were to happen, we want to be safe and protected and have what we need to be somewhat comfortable. So I'm going to start with talking about our solar system, because a lot of people actually didn't know that we have solar. We had that installed roughly about a year ago. Last summer we had it installed, and just last weekend, actually not even last weekend, just a few days ago, we finally had, after 12 months of waiting, our Powerwalls installed. So that was something that Hunter was counting down the days to, and it's very exciting to finally have that, so we have a place to store the solar energy that we're generating. So I'm also still learning how solar works. There's a lot of pieces that go into it and a lot of math. And if you know me personally, you know that is not my strong suit, and I don't like to even go near math if I don't have to. So I know bits and pieces. I know roughly how it works, what a good solar day is, what a bad solar day is, and why it's good to have. So we had a 6.7 kilowatt hour system installed because we are, as far as I know, that's a pretty small system, but it's just the two of us and now our two dogs that we have. So we don't use a ton of energy. So again, it's a 6.7 kilowatt hour system. And I think our best day that we've had has been like producing about 39 kilowatt hours. And so I know that during the summertime, we'll probably produce more. We didn't actually have it in the peak of summer last year, so we're excited to see what we'll produce. And now with these Powerwalls, I'll insert clips of the install. It was a fun, exciting day. Now that we had those Powerwalls installed, that extra energy that we have is actually not powering, but charging those up, and then we run off of that instead of the grid. To my knowledge, that's how it works. Don't quote me. So the Powerwalls, we got 2 of them. They can essentially power our house if everything is down, like everything is down. It can power our house for roughly 3 days if we're using the bare minimum amount of energy. So we can still have lights if we need it. We can still have a microwave, but that's a little frivolous. So just the bare essentials will last us roughly 3 days. Now that's if we still have no solar coming in for any reason. So if it's a natural disaster, there's no sunshine, the sky is just dark, and we're not really bringing anything in, that's where it's going to last us about 3-ish days to have some power still, while everyone else around us could be blackout. So that is great to have that as a backup resource. And then what's even better is the fact that if it's nice out, if we're not disconnected from our solar panels by any sort of crazy reason, we basically have infinite energy. It's coming in, it's charging those Powerwalls up, and then we can take that energy and use it. So that is pretty exciting. And there's another company, so I'm sure most of you know Tesla Solar Energy. That's like the biggest. There's another company that kind of got us first our steps into the solar world, and that's Goal Zero. So they also make solar powered products and solar generating, that's not necessarily the word I'm looking for, but like power packs, things like that. I do plan to do another video talking specifically about the power walls in the solar system a little bit more when I have a little bit more knowledge on how it all works. So look for that Goal Zero and Tesla video coming soon. So again, this is a video I was really excited to make, so I literally have notes to go over everything to remember exactly what I want to talk about. So if you have the resources, let's mess that up there, if you have the resources and are able to invest in solar, I would highly, highly suggest it. It's really fun to watch how much solar we produce each day, how much we use, try and beat each day. Hunter is religious and every night checking our stats and going over it. So it's good for the environment too. Really good for the environment. If you're all about that, another reason to invest in solar. So I'm going to check out my notes and see what I want to talk about next. And I think I'll probably start with water storage. So again, this is an emergency preparedness video, and kind of it's a lot of opinion. So it's a lot of my opinion, Hunter's opinion, ours as a family. So a lot of this is not fact. A lot of this is, again, personal preference and opinions. This is just my thoughts on the topic. So take it with a grain of salt. This is just kind of getting the conversation flowing where, you know, I'm a 22-year-old woman and a lot of the people around me don't take this seriously, don't talk about this. This is not taboo, but it's just something that people don't think about, and I really want to get that started and get the people around me more protected, more prepared for any situation, because this up-and-coming generation is pretty screwed if anything ever happens. So just trying to get the conversation started. So with water storage, so there's a lot of different options that you can have for it. Now, in my research, what I found was roughly the average person uses around 100 gallons a day of water for bathing, drinking, all of those different types of things that you would use water for. So that's like luxurious living, roughly 100 gallons of water a day. Now, what I found online, and again, you can't trust everything you read online, I found that health authorities generally recommend half a gallon of water consumption for a human each day. So you also have to account for the fact that you're going to need water to cook with. On top of that, if you also want water to bathe with, you have to add that towards your water storage as well. Now, you also have the option of baby wipes if you want to conserve your water for drinking. And I'm not saying what type of scenario this is going to go for. This is just generally to have on hand in case of any kind of emergency. Personal preference. Now, when it comes to food, so this is something that I am a little bit more able to talk about because it's something that is talked about often in my house. So what I read is that the average person needs roughly, not needs, had to mess up once. So the average person can go roughly 8 to 21 days without food, is just what I found online. Not a fact, just what I found online. So I personally, as well as my husband, think that we should have probably about 6 months worth of food per person. That may sound crazy to you, and that's fine. That's just our personal preference. And when it comes to food storage, you know, a lot of people go with canned goods. That's great, that's fine, that's dandy. And then there's also a couple different options of freeze-dried food. So we go with both routes. You know, we have some canned food, but in the worst case emergency, something wild and crazy happens, heavy. Canned food is heavy, and you don't want to travel with it very much. So I would suggest getting some freeze-dried food. So there's a couple different resources. Now there is, hold on, hopefully I don't lose focus here. Our two, I guess I would say our favorite options are either Mountain House, which I would say is probably a little bit more common. You see this in sporting stores, REI, Sportsman's Warehouse, probably Dick's. We don't support Dick's, but it's probably there. Now this is delicious. I would just eat this on any day. It's so good. You can cook it in the bag, and I mean, a lot of people use it for hiking too. So Mountain House is an amazing brand. Not the cheapest. I would say each bag, off the top of my head, I think is around $7 for the full meals, which these ones are 2.5 servings. So both Hunter and I have shared one before, and it was enough. It gets the job done. But then the other option that you have is Wise Foods. I would say this might be a little bit better of a deal because they constantly have deals going on. Black Friday deals, even just day to day, we always have an email coming in saying this deal now, but these are a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Space conserving. So these pack down smaller than these. I mean, you can see the size difference. These take up hardly any space, and the food itself is, I would say, not as good, but in an emergency situation, any food is good food, really, you know what I mean? So this is said to be 4 servings. Hunter and I have only tried 1 or 2 flavors, and again, they were okay. I would prefer Mountain House. This is just a little bit bulkier. This is just gonna take up less space in your pantry or wherever you keep your emergency goods and resources. So both of them, you just put boiling water in. Now this one, you can't make in the bag, to my knowledge. We haven't done it. Yeah, it says, add it into the boiling water and stir, whereas this you can do it directly in the bag, so you need silverware and bowls, things like that for this. So there's ups and downs to both of them. Again, this one, they constantly have deals. You can get it in crazy, crazy bulk orders if you want. Or this. We keep both, we have both, we eat both. They're good options. And now, another way to cook these, so because boiling water, if you have power in your house, you can boil it on the stove. If you are out in the wilderness, you can start a fire. But then you also have the option of those like jet boil stoves, which we have one. This one is super portable if you ever had to, you know, leave your home for any reason in an emergency situation. This is a really good option. We've taken it hiking, we've used it on hikes. It has cute little pans in it. They just fold out. It's the Optimus brand, and they just use, you know, little gas containers, super small, super light. Again, you can throw it in a backpack. This also goes to hiking if you want to take it hiking. So it's versatile, it has options. You just light it, you're ready to go. But you're not always going to have that on hand in an emergency situation, but it's something that you, if you want to purchase to add to your collection of emergency gear, doesn't hurt. I want to say that we bought this years and years ago. I want to say it was like 80 bucks, but don't take my word for it. It's the Optimus Terra Jet Boil Stove. And there's another brand called Jet Boil. Don't know the difference between the two and what's better in one, worse than the other. It's just a good product to have on hand. So as far as like water filtration, going back to water a little bit, this is another option. You can boil your water here if you need to. We also have life straws. This we got as a wedding gift, so it's still in the bag. Kind of a funny wedding gift, but that goes to show this is something that we really care about. So this is good for water filtration. Hopefully you can kind of see that. As well as like water droplets, tablets, also good to have. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a need for everyone. It's a need for us to have some sort of water filtration on file on hand. Okay. And so the next thing, I have to have a list because I'm a new dog mom, and what nobody told me is it really is like having a newborn, and I haven't slept in weeks and I can't think straight, but I really wanted to make this video and as much information as I could vomit out to you guys. I wanted to do that today. So ammo. Now, I'm not going to say how much ammo we have on hand and how much you should have on hand. Some people might think it's crazy to stockpile ammo, but the thing is, if this emergency situation is some sort of like a government overturn, I know, crazy preppers, or some sort of natural disaster where you have people looting in the streets, rioting in the streets, raiding homes, aren't you going to want to have a little stockpile to keep your home safe where your family is? Something to consider. Or if you have to go out looking for food, you want to keep yourself safe. I know, crazy preppers, that's what it sounds like again, but you should always have more than just what you would take out for a range day on hand in ammo. Personal opinion. It's better safe than sorry. You'll probably wish you had it in that situation because you can't just go to Walmart and pick up a box of ammo. It's not an option. And the last 2 things that I want to talk about is medical supplies. So I'm not a medical professional, neither is Hunter. We've never had any specific medical training. We took CPR and Stop the Bleed classes together. That was fun. It's something that we could both definitely work on because we just have taken one class to get certified. So we need to keep that going and keep that fresh in our brains. But we keep gauze, we keep aspirin, we would like to keep vitamins and things like that on file. I don't know why I keep saying that. I think it's because I work for the state and I have an office job and everything's on file, you know? It's kind of just part of my vocab now. So we keep them on hand. So we have like also burn cream and other little things. We just make shipments from North American Rescue, get a lot of things from there. It's where we get a lot of our tourniquets. We always have those in every room as well. So medical supplies is good to have even if you're not a medical professional, because training or not, if you have to help someone in an emergency situation, wouldn't you rather have something to work with and try your best to help someone versus just letting them bleed out or, you know, something along those lines. And then the last thing for this video, I did want to just keep it short and sweet and to the point, and I know no one really wants to sit here for 20 minutes watching a video. Just kind of wanted to go down the list of what we use to prep with, what we keep on hand, something that might kind of encourage someone else, yeah, maybe I should order some freeze-dried food just to keep in the pantry just in case. Again, getting that conversation flowing. So the last thing is go bags. And I know as soon as I said that, you're probably like, I'm done with this video, she's gone too far. But the thing is, they're not just for crazy preppers, or they're not bug out bags. But I'm curious, if when you hear that, is that where you draw the line? Do you say, emergency food is good, emergency water is good, but why do I need a bag full of things? Curious. Sound off below. What do you think? Go bag too far? Share your opinions about everything, really. I'm actually curious what people think about emergency preparedness. Is it something that your family instilled in you? Is it something as an adult you've learned to want to provide for yourself? I'm genuinely curious. Let's get the conversation going down below. If you want to share it with me on Instagram, you can follow me over there. But yeah, go bags. So not necessarily just like a bug out bag. We keep ones with, you know, some clothes and things in that. Evacuations. That's where I was headed with this. So last summer there was a lot of fires down in California. There was even some fires here in Oregon. And there was a lot of people who waited until the last minute to evacuate. Now, if you already have a bag with some clothes and personal supplies in it ready to go in your closet, not taking up space, in that situation, think about all the extra time you would have to collect personal things like photo albums, your animals, the other important things to you other than clothes and toothbrushes and things like that. Those bags are just ready to go. You're ready to evacuate, and you're not one of those people, hopefully, driving through the fire. So something to consider. Or if you have a family member who is in an accident and you have to get on a plane and go be there for them, you have a bag ready to go. You don't have to go home and pack everything up. That's something that Hunter brought up, a point that I never considered. It doesn't have to be for all of these crazy emergency, government shutdown, hurricane, tornado, all those crazy possibilities. Or another country invading, just saying, it's a possibility. It can be for these things that just happen at home. You know, people get sick, people get in accidents. It's good to have something that you can just grab, get on the plane, get in the car, go. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. None of this is bad. And so I just kind of wanted to take a minute to talk about why it's important to me. I mean, I'm not going down without a fight, no matter whatever happens. And I really thank my husband for being such a provider and going out of his way to buy medical supplies. Even when I questioned him and he explained to me why it's good, he always is the one to be like, you're gonna thank me someday. Same with the solar. I questioned it. I was like, really? Really? And now it's great. I mean, let alone saving money from PGE, pay the bare minimum. Someday after everything's all paid off, we won't pay anything. And now I'm just kind of rambling, but one last thing that I wanted to add back in, I just keep saying one last thing because I keep remembering things as I go, but I do want to end this video, and that is think about your pets too. That's something I really meant to say in there, and I wasn't looking at my list and I got distracted. So we actually do keep extra bags of dog food on hand for our dogs, because it's not just about us in an emergency situation. For us, our dogs are our kids, so we want them to have food, and if they did have any medical conditions, we would try and stock on their medical conditions, as their medical conditions, their medicine for those medical conditions if need be. We want our pets to be safe too. Obviously worst case, we can share our food with them, but we do always keep an extra bag of dog food on hand. We're probably gonna up that now that we did get a new dog, but your fur babies are family too, and they should be protected in these situations as well. So something else to consider in your stockpiling amount. Is there enough for you, your kids, if you have any, your family, who else would be joining you? Just things to consider. So I'm sure there probably is going to be more videos about this if you guys have more questions about things that we do. I don't want to give out too many specifics because it's not needed. It's just a lot of opinion and again just getting the conversation flowing. So if you have any questions, comments, drop them down below. If you want to see more videos talking about this and maybe showing good ways to do things, or again just conversations, there's that Powerwall and solar and the Goal Zero video that'll probably be coming separately because this is already too long and I'm already rambling like a crazy person. But yeah, so be prepared, guys. You never know what's going to happen. There's so many variables and so many possibilities of things that could affect your families, and you want to do what's best for them and just have these things on hand. It's not going out of your way that much just to be prepared for anything. So now that I've rambled for who knows how long, thank you for watching, and subscribe if you haven't. You can follow me over on Instagram at Kenzers. We also have our couple page for Hunter and I, The Tactical Couple, if you want to follow us there. My other two businesses can be found off of either of those if you want to keep supporting me in all of those things. And I will see you guys with something, who knows what, next week. Bye.